I chose the Dana J. Hetiarachi speech. It's clearly a persuasive speech. He's saying that even if you are broken, that it's only temporary, and that in the end you're going to be built back up, and that everybody's unique and special, like a rose. And for the delivery, he uses repetition. There's a line that he says multiple times. I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. It was a comedic, kind of comedic relief to the speech that I felt was very well placed. He uses a rose metaphor at the beginning and the end to tie the speech together. He uses a nurturing and optimistic tone, which I found very fitting for the subject, and it brought a positive view towards the subject. He uses very unique voices as well for each unique character that says the line that's repeated. I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. I thought that made the entire speech more believable, and it added some character to it. For body language, he uses a strong posture to show command over the subject. He leans and acts like he's one of the characters as well when he says his repeated line, I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. I felt like that kind of added more character as well to the speech. His hand movement was faster when the speech was more upbeat. That kind of made the speech flow more effectively. Eye contact. He's a professional. He's in a national competition for it, so he was absolutely flawless at eye contact. He moved across the stage and connected with every single portion of the audience. I felt, and he used very effective eye contact when he focused on one individual and pointed towards them and repeated, "I see something in you, but I don't know what it is." It just made the speech way more believable, and it made it seem like it was coming from the heart. For audience adaptation, his questions fit in very well with the setting. He stated, "I have an emotional mom, and then I have a cool dad." That's kind of the stereotype for parents, and so when he asked that question, I felt that it was a reasonable question to ask, and I felt that he had a good response to it. And most people are going to raise their hands. That's the way most parents are. They're very emotional mom with a cool dad. So the stereotype kind of made it fit in well because chances are a majority of the people there are in the same situation. Also, the entire topic was very relatable. Everybody's been broken at one point in their lives, so that's a great topic to pick. For the occasion, he had comedy to connect and stand out and out of all the speakers, which was wonderful. If you're with a bunch of other people trying to impress with your public speaking skills, you're there obviously because you can speak very well in public. So the content, adding the comedy, just put it over the top. The rose metaphor as well, that was a great metaphor that tied the speech together. And for a very professional setting, he used actually a lot of humor, and that made him stand out. Credibility, he connects it with the audience with a rose. He has a direct quote, "This flower is not much different from you and I." It puts the audience in his shoes and then ties everybody together with a rose, which made the metaphor more believable. And he makes himself vulnerable. He told a story about his weaknesses when he was 17, how he flunked out of school and got arrested, and he showed a personal side with his mom that made him stand out. There's one part in particular in that subject that stood out to me. He, with his hands, he was talking about the three tears that moms cry: joy, sorrow, and shame. When he said joy, he put his hand down to the left. When he said sorrow, he put his hand down to the right. And then when he said shame, he put his hand over his heart, and that put responsibility and ownership on that shame, that tear of shame, which I thought was very, very well placed and well timed. In conclusion, what I got out of the speech is, in public speaking in general, comedy is a very effective tool to use no matter how professional the setting is. But obviously, if it's overused, then it's going to turn into a comedy show, which isn't the goal. Physical metaphors and vulnerability create great connections with the audience. The rose and his personal stories just made the entire speech way more believable. And lastly, for that, repetition is a great way to tie a speech together. He uses that same line, "I see something special in you, but I don't know what it is," at the beginning, in the middle, and the end, and it just made the entire speech flow. And lastly, what I got out of the speech for my skills is faster pace. I need to use faster hand movement. It made the speech flow. It made everything seem synchronized. And if you use slow hand movements with a fast pace, then it's just going to look messed up. And lastly, comedy equals a great connection with the audience, especially for our young environment, a bunch of college students. So I've learned that I can't be afraid to use comedy throughout my speeches.